Hello everybody and welcome back. Question 6 now. We're looking at something very short and sweet. Tan of arctan of x. Now remember, in our classes, we've mostly been using arctan. But, as the next question will indicate, and I don't want to get too ahead of ourselves, but as the next question will indicate, sometimes people choose to write tan to the -1. These guys mean the same thing. Arc sine, sine to the -1, they mean the same thing. Just different notation. Okay? I believe on this year's midterm there's at least one -1. It's been a while since I looked at this year's midterm though. But just remember, arctan or tan to the -1, arc cos, cos to the -1, these are just indicating inverse functions of our trig functions. Okay? So, oops, forgot to flip the page, didn't I? So we're being asked just to calculate tan of arctan of 8. Okay? But arctan is the inverse of tan, so these guys should cancel out. My answer should just be 8. And you might say, whoa, hold on, Professor. We've done some questions similar to this in class at one point, didn't we? And you're right, we did. And you say, well, didn't we have to consider the domain very carefully when we did that? You're absolutely right, but there was a difference. Okay? And the main difference here being that if I say arc sine of sine, if the last thing I do is the inverse function, then I absolutely should be, just to finish off the question here, then I absolutely should be paying attention as to what values I'm spitting out. In fact, let's make this a question that would require us to stop and think about domain and range. Okay, sine of 2 pi by 3 is root 3 over 2. We might remember that. So just simplifying as we go, arc sine of root 3 over 2. This asks the question, because it's an inverse function, this asks the question, what value do I have to put into sine? What angle do I have to put into sine to get 3 pi by 2 out? Or not 3 pi by 2. What value do I have to put into sine to get root 3 over 2 out? And you'll say, well, obviously 2 pi by 3. Okay? But remember, arc sine, being the last function applied, it only knows about values between negative pi by 2 and pi by 2. Okay? And 2 pi by 3 is outside that range. There's actually a value of, that you can plug into sine to get root 3 over 2 that is in this range, and that would be pi by 3. And so in that case, when arc sine is the last thing you do, when the arc trig function is the last thing you do, you can't just cancel out and say, it was the original value all along. Okay? But if I did sine of arc sine of root 3 over 2, absolutely the answer is root 3 over 2. And for some of you, that's just going to, confusing. At this stage in the game, I would, well, obviously if you can, try and understand it. But at this stage in the game, just maybe remember the rule. If you're really having a hard time talking about this, and of course you can always come to office hours and we can have a lovely chat about all this. But maybe just remember, if the inverse trig is the last thing I do, then I have to worry about the range and the domain. If the trig function is the last thing I do, then they'll just cancel out. Okay? So in this case, the answer really is 8. It was as simple as that. But if it was arctan, tan of something, then I absolutely would have to be careful, and I'd have to say, well, what values does arctan put out? And things like that. But enough yammering on for such a simple question. We've got B as our answer. B it is, and we'll flip the page because I forgot to last time. And up next will be question number 7. I will see you for that in the next video.